This July, Modern Fairy Sightings and House of Zophiel bring you a weekend immersed in the world of fairies. I'll be part of a residential weekend workshop with spaces to share our personal experiences, meditations to connect with other worlds, exploring encounters and literature, painting and drawing, and creating a talisman. At each stage, we'll be exploring our deep connection with nature, listening to our intuition and the messages received. We'll be leaning into the other world and inviting contact. That's 5th and 6th of July in Sheffield. To reserve a space and for more information, email info@houseofzophiel.com, ZOPHIEL, or check out scarletofthefae.com and go to events. Join us. Welcome to the Modern Fairy Sightings podcast. I'm Jo Hickey Hall, and this time I'm joined with Annick Brofman. I'm absolutely delighted to welcome you here, Annick, because you are a teacher of the body mirror system of healing, and this is a system that's created by Martin Brofman, your husband, who sadly departed around 10 years ago now and very much missed by so many people across the world. So welcome, and I'm really excited to chat with you about the healing system.
Thank you for inviting me, Jo. I'm very happy to be part of this podcast. Really happy.
Yeah, it's so great to see you. So it would be really nice if you could begin by kind of talking about Martin's life. I mean, I guess one thing to say is that the reason why it felt right for you to come on and chat at this time is because it's actually 20 years since I met Martin at the London College of Psychic Studies and did my first body mirror system workshop. It was a weekend workshop. Now, these are workshops that you do all around the world, and you're going to tell us about those. But it felt like a real milestone because, you know, I see Martin as one of my great teachers in my life. You know, it was through his own experiences that the system came about. So yeah, it would be really lovely if you could describe kind of how the body mirror system came into being.
Okay. Well, it's a system of healing, you know, where we're teaching you the dynamic of co-creation to master co-creation, you know, with healing. And Martin, in fact, he didn't create a method, you know, when he started on this path. It was just for his own healing. In 1975, he was told he had cancer at the level of the neck. I mean, he was paralyzed, brought to emergency. The doctor said, well, we have to operate right away. You might die during the operation or come out tetraplegic. And he went through all the emotions that somebody goes through, you know, when you're told you're about to die. Anyway, I make it a short story. He came back from the operation. He was paralyzed for 2 weeks, but came back on his legs. But they told him they couldn't reach the cancer because it was inside the spine and they were expecting him to die. So when they did the operation, they removed the bones, you know, in the neck. And because they were expecting him to die, they didn't do anything else than sewing the muscles in the neck. And at that time, he was very nearsighted, very, he had astigmatism, and his glasses were too heavy for his head. So when he would wear the glasses, his head would fall. And of course, I mean, seeing clearly was, you know, the list of his problems at that time. So anyway, I'm just saying that because it has an importance for the story later on. So if you wish, he was expecting to die. They said, if you sneeze, you might die just right away. So he was on a special state of consciousness, if you wish. Every time he would, when he would walk, he wouldn't know if he would be alive for the next step, you know. And anyway, he was 35, very young, and also so sad because he had such a long list of I wish I had a very, very long list. And he decided to be happy for the rest of his life. Should it be a second, 2 minutes, 2 days, 2 months, determined to be happy. And that gave him a great sense of freedom, you know, but that's very important when we talk about healing and transformation. It's this decision, you know, to do something different. Anyway, he was eating whatever he wanted, you know. Every meal could be the last one. So he was not into a special diet to heal, you know. He was into the pleasure of eating. If he was in the middle of a conversation that was boring, he was feeling free to say, I'm sorry, I have to go. Anyway, he was still alive 8 months later and celebrating being alive in a holiday club, you know, in Martinique. That's where he met this Zen master teaching meditation. And the guy told him, you know, cancer starts in your mind. If you want to get rid of it, that's where you need to go. So that's when Martin got interested in healing, I would say, you know. For the first time, somebody was opening the door to healing, an alternative to dying. So he looked at everything that was on the market at that time. And I would say the only method that was really efficient and known at that time was the silver mind control method, which is still existing and very efficient, working with the mind to reprogramming your computer, your inner computer, and using also visualization.
Right, because sorry, I just wanted to say, right, because what we could say is that also that Martin was a computer professor on Wall Street at the time he became ill, and that kind of felt key in terms of you know his experience.
Yeah, if the guy would have said, you know, it starts in your consciousness, he would not have had the same impact on him, but he said the mind. And because he was a computer designer on Wall Street, I mean, that was a language that he got, you know, it's like something he triggered inside. So anyway, he did the silver method, used the tools, you know, for 2 months. After 2 months, you know, he went to the doctor. They said, we must have made a mistake. There is no cancer there. So that's when he started, you know, he was like a child in a pack of candies, you know, exploring everything. And his first field of interest was eyesight, because at some point he had to renew his driver license, and they're always testing eyesight, and they told him his eyesight was normal. So, you know, he didn't think about his eyesight. He was just focused on being happy and saving his life. So seeing clearly was not on his mind at all. So that's when he realized, yeah, I see, my vision is different. You know, when you're doing this change, you know, gradual change, you're coming back home, you know, you lost sight of yourself, you come back home. It's like, it's so natural when you come home. It feels like it has never been otherwise, you know, it's so strongly home. Anyway, he started being interested in what is happening in the consciousness with blurred vision, way of beings, you know, associated with blurred vision. And with all the research he did, he put up a program, you know, called a vision workshop, where it's like a computer program, you know. You put someone with blurred vision in the program. What is massaged, you know, is not the data, it's the consciousness, and what comes out, it's somebody with clear vision. So it's like people are going in 2 days through the same process he went through a little bit more than a year from the time he was diagnosed to the time he was healed. Okay, so it's condensed. and working directly on eyesight. And then again, he was so interested by everything, so he started exploring different philosophies and religions and traditions and medicine and psychology. He was just for himself, he was just looking for answers, gathering all kind of information and getting pieces of puzzles. And then how it is with puzzle. Sometimes you put two pieces together and then two other pieces here, and then the four of them are meeting. So it's like the body mirror system started building up from his research at that time, So the idea is to use the chakras to read the body as the map of the consciousness inside. So it is based on the relationship between the physical body and the different part of the consciousness. So anyway, I don't know if you want to talk right away about the chakras.
Yeah, why not? That sounds like a really good idea.
Yeah. So each chakra is connected directly to the physical body through the nervous system and the endocrine system. We have 7 plexus of nerves, 7 endocrine glands, and each of them is connected to a chakra, and each chakra is representing an aspect of your consciousness. So your consciousness is everything that you're capable of experiencing as a being. All your physical abilities, emotional abilities, your mental abilities, your abilities for love, spiritual abilities, everything. And all of that can be divided into 7 categories, and each category corresponds to a chakra. So he was gathering all this information, and it built up, like a logical structure where we can really read the body as a map of the consciousness inside. So the idea is that everything starts in the consciousness, just everything. And, it has to make sense to the people. When Martin met this guy, the Zen master teaching meditation, and the guy said, cancer starts in your consciousness. They had this talk, and he told him, you've been paralyzing yourself. And Martin recognized how much it was true, that talked to him very deeply. So when someone is experiencing a symptom and we talk to them about the inner cause, it resonates inside, and then it makes sense. And then it's easier to start a process of transformation.
So for Martin, what you're saying is that he was in a situation in his life in which he felt very unhappy, but he was not walking away from it. That exactly. Was it. He was paralyzing himself. So it's kind of using, I guess it's metaphors. So it's looking at what the effect of the symptom is in our lives, in our bodies, and what the end effect of that might be. And then actually and then kind of looking at it from the perspective that, well, if I created this, what is the effect of it? What am I stopping myself from doing?
Yeah. We say the end result shows what is the real intention. So on top of reading the body as a map of the consciousness, as you say, if it's starting in your consciousness, we say you're doing to yourself literally what you had been doing to yourself figuratively. So if you cannot walk, you're keeping yourself from walking, or you're keeping yourself from standing on both your feet. Root chakra is about trust, security. It can be trust in yourself, trust in your in what you want to do. So it can be just standing on both your feet regarding what you want, what you feel, and feeling rooted, feeling grounded. So that's about being paralyzed. It can be, like you say, not allowing yourself to move away from a situation where you're not happy. And for people who don't see clearly, we look also at what is it that they don't want to see. It's not that they don't want to see. It's difficult to see. That's why they don't want to see. So there is an emotion behind, It's something they witness, or a situation that is, in front of their eyes, and it's like they don't want to see it, because otherwise there is an emotion coming up, and they don't want to feel that emotion. So it's creating a distance between an event and themselves. That's what eyesight is about. So they lose sight of themselves by, putting some distance with life. So either they go inside, and they stay inside, or they don't want to see something inside them. They feel guilty or anger, and they don't want to express it. So they're just on the side of themselves, but not really in their physical body, looking at life. So there are ways to heal that and to come back home.
Yeah.
With the tools we have. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you're talking about vision being, hiding inside yourself, you're talking there about people being short-sighted or having myopia, where you can see what's here with you, but you can't see farther away. So you're kind of withdrawing from the world and sort of making sense of the world through kind of your own fears, if you like. And then with somebody that's got long-sightedness, they're quite happy to look over there and see what's going over there, but they're not so comfortable in kind of looking at what's going on closer to home or with themselves.
Yeah. It's always according to everything starts in the consciousness. It's that's what I like. When I attend my first class with Martin, I'm Aries. I like things logical, and even in spirituality, nothing is like spooky. Everything is very logical. So it has to make sense for me. It has to be logical. Anyway, that's why I enjoyed. In the method, it's like everything is coming together. So it's just everything starts in the consciousness. So if you see more easily what is far away and not what is close, what you're avoiding looking at is you, what is close, with nearsightedness, myopia, it's the opposite. You see clearly what is close to you. What you don't see is what is far away. So your attention is directed towards yourself. What you don't want to see is the outside. So the emotion related to nearsightedness is fear, insecurity, and with farsightedness or hypermetropia, it's something more about anger or guilt, something about the past. The idea is that we are a consciousness inside our physical body. We're the driver, not the car. Everybody can understand that and relate to that. But sometimes with some people, when we talk about the consciousness, they think it's the mind, just the mental processes. I think, therefore I am. But the mind is just the solar plexus chakra. It's not who we are in the deepest place. When you move away from the solar plexus to other valves of your consciousness, it's more like I don't think, therefore I am, because you're experiencing other aspects of your consciousness, your spirit, the soul. There are so many things to do. So anyway, when we talk about everything starts in the consciousness, it's more about the spirit, and the spirit is your consciousness. It's the driver inside the physical body. So if you wish, we are a consciousness, an individualized consciousness within a physical body, interacting with other people. And, we are looking at the world through a filter that we conceptualize as a bubble, because we're looking through this bubble. And the purpose of this bubble is to filter the information that are brought to our attention, So some in the psychology, they will call that conscious and unconscious or subconscious. It's like you are the one deciding what information moves through this bubble and is brought to your attention, right? And most of the information around you don't notice it. It's just somewhere inside, but it didn't go through this filter. If you were hypnotized, you would recover this information. So what we're saying is, inside your bubble, you're allowing certain information to be brought to your attention. And the way you perceive the world is the way you're creating your life, because this filter is colored by your emotion, your perceptions, your beliefs. So if you live in a red bubble, everything coming in is colored by red. Huh? So, and also we can say the only color you allow in is red, whatever the color means, But other people are living in with different beliefs, different perceptions, through a different filter. So it's this idea of being conscious of, is the filter for which I'm looking at the world healthy for me or not?
If you're looking, as you say, at the world through this red filter, can you describe what you mean by that? As in, because you mentioned before about the root chakra, the red chakra, being around issues of security. So can you describe what the world would look like to somebody looking
if we use the color red as, looking at the world through a filter of insecurity and fear.
Yeah, okay.
You're only allowing information in that confirms your beliefs, Yeah. So, and whatever you look at, that's your interpretation. Let's say you see a young man, helping an old lady crossing the street. You won't see that as an expression of love. You will think, oh, he's going to steal something from her. So that's what we're talking about, only allowing this. And then when you're living in fear, you're attracting it. Everything starts in the consciousness. We're also looking at, the pictures you're holding in your consciousness. Your brain is a generator of electricity. Where you're directing your thoughts is where you're directing energy. That's how visualization is working, When you're holding something in your consciousness, in your mind, then you're more likely to create it. So it's like you're only attracting insecurity. And usually you meet people who live through the same filter. Mm. And so that's energizing your reality.
Right.
My mom, for example, sometimes I'm asking you, what channel are you looking at, or what radio are you listening to? Because she's always talking about something that might be happening, something bad. It's everything bad, She never ever think about anything positive that might happen.
Mm-hmm. So can you kind of contrast that with somebody that might, say, be experiencing the world through their heart chakra, for instance? What would that be like? Rather than the root chakra, the red chakra, they are experiencing going about the world.
Well, when you're looking for your heart chakra, it's the perceptions of love. Okay, so if you're looking for this chakra, if you see the young guy, helping the old lady crossing the street, you see that as an expression of love. But at the same time, sometimes when it's personal, you might react to the perception that you're not loved for one reason or another. But the tendency is more to look at the world with trust, confidence, and seeing a lot of things as an expression of love,
Thank you. Yeah, it's helpful to see that. And I think what I really love about this system is, as you say, it's just really no nonsense. It's really straightforward. It makes logical sense, and it's very easily applicable. When I do a couple of healing appointments a week now. So, those 2 sessions, I just really am very grateful for the way in which I can meet people with this system and just apply it directly. And there's no faff, there's no woo, there's no, it just as it is.
I think what is interesting also, is we're all healers.
Yeah.
Everybody is. And we all have this capacity. It's not a gift. Mm. And some people, they want to use it to develop this gift, if you wish, and some people, they just don't care about it. So the thing is, when when you realize that, you can heal yourself, you can heal others, and if you want to do that, it's just very simple, just very simple. I remember once Martin was teaching a class in Switzerland, and this lady came to the class, and people were giving them tools, and they use it right away. And she said, "Oh, but I'm not sure because I'm learning a healing technique, and they say I have to wait 2 years before I can practice." And for us, it was like, well, not with our method. With our method, you can use it right away. So she was very happy to finally being able. It was like more than a year she was working with healing. She never gave a healing to anybody. She was eager to give a healing to someone. So to use it, so she did. And the thing is also, it's not just working with energy like a magnetism. Sometimes people, they go to see a healer, they have this session where they feel better, and then they go back into their life. What we like for us is to put people in the driver's seat of their life. You understand? Everything starts in your consciousness. Here are the tools. We heal you. Then you're on the right path, and you stay there. So it's also part of the class is learning about the ways of being that had created the symptom. So you don't recreate them, and you stay there. For me, I like the metaphor, you lost sight of yourself, whatever the symptom, and then you come back home. You come back to yourself. We came on the planet to be happy, and you can give yourself all kind of reasons for staying where you're not happy, with people you don't like, doing something you don't like, and then you're in in a dead end street, and it doesn't have to be like that. You can move out of this situation. There is a way to do it. So it's opening your eyes with the method, and on a practical level, it's also healing symptoms. Just healing them. And what I wanted to say also, it's very, you're exchanging healings during the class. You're in the weekend class, you're receiving and giving 5 healings. So it's also very interesting for people who are already a healer working with energy, a therapist, a psychologist, even doctor or nurses, anybody working with the health issues with human beings. It's the class is very beneficial for them, because it's very nice to being able to say to the people, here is the way of being that triggered the symptom. So to put them on the driver's seat of their life, then I think it's a whole, it's I find it very efficient. So I know in France, for example, a lot of people using Reiki, they like to come to the class so they can learn this, the inner cause to the symptoms, and with the feedback they give to the people, it's reorienting them. So it's otherwise, it's like Martin used to say, it's like if you're driving your car a certain way and you have to bring it to the garage, the car to fix it every month. After a while, the guy will say, "Hey, if you don't want to bring it every month, you need to change your way of driving," So it's the same with the way of beings that are not healthy. We're all unique, and we all have a sense of wholeness. We all have a place of harmony, everybody. And it's just a question of finding this place of harmony,
That makes sense to me so much. Thank you. Because, I've done a whole episode on my experience with Martin called Healing and Consciousness, and people can go and check that out and have a look at that for more information. But for me, when I went along to that first class, I went along a bit like the woman in your class. I'd done Reiki, and I just wanted to learn, I thought I was going along to learn a new method. Oh, this is interesting. Recommended by a friend. And actually, while I was there, he was saying, well, you're all here to be healed. What do you want to heal from? And I ended up being, a guinea pig sitting in the chair when he did. I think it was the white light presentation where he was showing the rest of the class. And from that point on, it changed my life. I mean, it literally, for me, it was like somebody switched the on switch. And that was a pivotal point. There was like my life before and my life since.
Yeah, for me, it was the same, Joe. When I attended my first class, I didn't have any symptom. I didn't even know what the class was about. It's my secretary. I was a social worker, and my secretary, she said, Annick, you have to come to this class. It's great. So I went. I had no idea what it was about. And I was more, it was new, the new age time, it was more than 30 years ago. So I wanted answers about what is life about, what meaning has my own life, And it was a 4-day class, and it was like, oh my God, I got, I don't want to say all the answers, but the main ones, it gave a sense to my life, it gave a sense of direction. It was so simple, so logical. And before that, I had spent 15 years in a Catholic school, gave me great, loving heart. But for other things, religion, there is no logic in it, what they say. So for me, it was like, I think it's also why, I don't know if it's the case in England, in France, people are going less and less to the church, they and in general. And it's, I think it's because there is something that doesn't fit, in the story. Anyway, for me, I love Jesus, and I love the quality of his love. For me, my life is about loving unconditionally everybody, and that's my path, and to heal and to awake people to unconditional love, because that's what we need right now on the planet. People, they don't need to be spiritual; they just need to be loving. So that's the urgency of the time. We don't care if people believe in God or I am or whatever. What we want is to inspire them to be more loving. That's priority right now.
Thank you. This is something that Martin used to talk about a lot, that this is, process that we're going through. And yeah, I'd really love you to talk about how this system makes sense in terms of what we're going through at the moment in the world. But also, first of all, could you go through the chakras one by one, just to very briefly?
So the root chakra is located at the perineum, the base of the spine, and it's about trust, security, survival, your connection with what is for you the source of security and trust. So for most people, it is money, home, job. The money gives you a sense of security and also a sense of satisfaction. You're happy with the money you're earning, with the work you're doing. Home, it's supposed to be the place where you feel safe. On the physical level, the skeleton as a system is connected to this chakra, and also the elimination system and the lymphatic system. Also, teeth are and gums, the sense of smell is connected, and it's the element of earth. So feeling grounded, root chakra, feeling grounded, standing on both your feet. And the earth, we call it Mother Earth. So it's also showing something about your relationship with your mom. When you come into the world, in our system, mom is more the nourishing one, dad is more the directing one. In some family, it's the opposite, but, in the usual family. So when you're growing up, you're taking decisions about mom, with the interaction. For example, I have all I need, or I never have what I need. She's always there, never there, And with the decisions that you take, you're building a a model of the relationship that becomes later your relationship with everything representing security in your life, money, home, job. So when people are always with no money, no trust, we can look at what decision did they take growing up, and they can change this decision. It's not about what happened. It's about how they respond to what happened. And later on, they can decide to respond in a different way in order to heal their relationship with money, for example, to give an example. Okay. Second, your root chakra is also your connection with physical reality, your physical body. So your ability to be in the present moment, that's root chakra. So memory, good memory. When you're present, you remember where you are. If you're not present, you remember where you are, except you're not there, so you remember where you were. Second chakra is the emotional body. So it's about feeling your emotions, this willingness to feel whatever it is, So if you're angry, to just feel angry. If you're afraid, feel the fear. If you're happy, you feel happiness, and or guilt, you feel guilty, and then you let go. It's just feeling the emotion so that it doesn't stay stuck under the carpet. And it's also about food and sex. The idea is your car, your body has needs, and it communicates it to you through the sense of taste and your appetite. So if your body needs potassium, you have a taste and appetite for food containing potassium as much as your body needs. I'm sure people know what I'm talking about. Sometimes you feel like eating apple for 2 weeks, and then for 6 months you don't want any. So you're just listening what you have taste for. So, for example, when Martin was sick, he was eating pizza, pepperoni, and Coca-Cola for 3 months every day, and only that. And then after that, he stopped eating pepperoni pizza. He started having vanilla and vanilla pecan ice cream. Only that, all day. And, he was just into eating what makes him happy. He didn't think about, is it good or bad? I mean, he was about to die, so he was into pleasure. And then later on, when he was healed and he looked back, he thought, well, the pepperoni pizza, it's a very young energy. And maybe that's what he needed. And then the vanilla ice cream, it's very yin, and maybe that's what he needed at that time. So you're just listening to what your body is asking for. And it's the same with sexuality. Your body is responding to people, responding to situations, and not others. It's not about the standard, the archetype of the perfect woman, perfect partner, the ideal body, blah, blah. It's just, it's chemistry. So it's just, we're not talking about what you do about it. Just the fact that you listen to what your body is asking for. Because sometimes it's surprising, your body is like kind of, feeling attracted to someone, and you might be surprised when you look at the person. Your solar plexus, it's about power, freedom, control. It's the self-definition, all the intellectual activity. I think, therefore I am. That's solar plexus. And that's the level of personality also. So it's owning your power. Whatever you want to do, you can do it. Okay? So we all come on the planet with certain goals. We have a list of things that we want to realize, and whatever is on the list, the idea is that we know we can. I can do. That's owning your power. And the freedom to do it. Also feeling free to be who you are. It's the plexus of the sun. The sun is shining the same intensity, and it doesn't matter how many people are on the beach, it shines the same. So it's just about being yourself, showing the world who you are, and when people always say to somebody, "Oh, you're shining," that's solar plexus. Okay, it's just being a sun in your life. And so whatever you have on your list, whatever you want to accomplish, you can. It's not, can I do it? It's more like, how do I find the means to do it? Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And with personality, it's the interaction we have with the world growing up, with what we learn. If I do this, I'm encouraged. If I do that, I'm discouraged. So I'm defining by what people tell about me rather than who I really am.
Yeah.
And with healing, very, very often, we say the main transformation happens at the level of the personality, the solar plexus. Mm-hmm. That's why it's very important to open doors, to transformation. The healing doesn't happen without transformation. Yeah. And it's very much at the level of the solar plexus. And you don't become somebody else. In fact, you come back to yourself. It's a very joyful process to come back to yourself and let go of these codes, of it can be education, it can be fear, it can be anger that was, on your shoulders. So when you remove all of them, what is left is you. Yeah. Just you. And then that's what you felt when you attended your first class. That's what I felt. It was this sense of, wow, I can be whoever I want. And yeah. So for me, I was a social worker. After that, I didn't want to be a social worker anymore. I wanted to be a healer. So it was a question of finding, I didn't, quit my job like that, but I felt free to change direction. And, my parents were not very happy about that because, it's social worker. It's perfect job for a mom, And, but yeah, I had to feel free to follow my own path and to live my dream and not the dream of other people. I don't want to be a guest in another movie. I want to be the main character in my own movie. Okay? So solar plex is very much about that also. Heart chakra is about love, perceptions of love. So you were asking me before, if we're looking at the world through this filter. In fact, it's when somebody has a symptom affecting breathing, affecting blood circulation, the lungs, the heart, everything, in the chest, it's because of the perception of a lack of love or because of a sense of separation with somebody close to the heart. So we all have different ways of showing our love, of expressing it. And we have a tendency to look for an expression rather than the love itself, So for me, for example, growing up, I thought my mom didn't love me because she would tell me what to do every 5 seconds. And I'm Aries. I don't like to be told, So I was like, oh, if she loved me, she wouldn't tell me. And then later on, I realized, well, that's the way she's expressing her love. She received no love when she grew up. So she made a promise to herself that when she would be a mom, her kids would know they're loved. Well, we know. So, so instead of fighting against the expression, you can say, Mom, thank you for the love. The way you're expressing it sometimes a bit, heavy. But anyway, I appreciate the love. And then she doesn't need to push, so that's what I've done with my mom. So now we have a great relationship. So yeah, it's the seeing the love behind the way it's expressed and feeling connected, feeling the love. Okay. Yeah. I can talk more later on when we talk about what's on the planet anyway. Throat chakra is about expressing what is true for you, mainly, when you have symptoms affecting the throat, it's because you're giving yourself good reasons to not express. You keep it for yourself. Maybe you're afraid to be judged. Maybe you're afraid to hurt somebody. It doesn't work, It's about expressing whatever is on, whatever you feel, it's an emotion. And it's also expressing your being. So you're going for your goals. So we all come on the planet for, to express ourselves in a certain way. Some people, they love to wake up in the morning to go to work, to bake bread. And that's thanks to them that we eat good bread, and some other people, they love to fix motors. Other people, they love to clean. Other people, they love to change the world. Other people, they love to act. And so that's what I was talking about, when I was talking about finding your place of harmony. It's like, what do you like to do? What is the expression of your being? And it's also allowing yourself to receive unconditionally whatever you're expressing, whatever is on your list. So it's, unconditional receiving. You're setting goals and you have them. It's also listening to your intuition, which is the walkie-talkie between, the solar plexus and the spirit or the soul. So the inner voice, it speaks a very simple language. You're looking at your emotions. Do I feel good going in this direction, or or is it flowing, or is it resisting? So that's the way you're listening to your intuition. If you can say, I love where I am, I love what I'm doing, I love who I'm with in every present moment, you're just direct, connection with whatever, is the source for you. And that's walkie-talkie is the fourth chakra. Root chakra, I told you, it's at this level that you identify with the consciousness and not the physical body. So we call it the spirit. It's the individualized consciousness. It's the form you take when you come into the world. And that's where you see yourself as the creator of your movie. It's like your life is a lucid dream that you're projecting, and you see everybody else doing the same, projecting their dreams around them. And where our dreams are interpenetrating each other, we create a hologram, and we call it external physical reality. And everything happening in this external physical reality is the effect of all the points of consciousness involved in every event. So we become aware of co-creation in our life, on the planet, as healers. It's really what is a passion for me is this mastering co-creation in every aspect. That's wonderful. Anyway, crown chakra is the deepest part of your consciousness. It's what we call the level of the soul, traveling from one lifetime to another. It's the collective consciousness. Some people, it's our connection with our Father in heaven. So people believing in God, it's their connection with God. But with some people, the source is not God. It's something else. So it's your connection with whatever is the source of direction for you. For some people, it's themselves. Martin used to say, little Martin is in the solar plexus and big Martin is in the crown chakra. So we don't really care what words you use to describe them. It's more to understand that, that's what directs your life. That's the source. And if you want to be open to unconditional receiving in your beliefs, it has to come from a place that is devoted to your happiness, So that's the source. And when we come into the world, the source of direction is more usually dad. So again, when you're growing up, you're taking decisions about dad. He's always there, never there. He's very protective, he's not. Or whatever decision you take, you're building a model. And that becomes later on the model of the relationship you have with everything representing an authority or a direction in your life. So in our evolution, I would say we come to a place where we are experiencing just seeing, this source inside or outside. In fact, it's neither inside or outside, it's there. It's what some people call I am, to the deepest place in our soul. We're just one being. It's not one, all of us together. It's just one being, and that's where it all started. One consciousness, like the hands, and the fingers. So we're dreamers, creating dreamers, and maybe that's why the universe keeps growing.
Thank you. Yeah, this is so insightful, and every time I hear more, I'm listening with with new ears. Every time I hear, every time I come to a workshop, I learn something new. Because I'm always kind of, I guess every time I come to workshop, the layers are peeled off, and then I go out into the world again and I live my life, and then I get to a certain, either I come along because I want to work on something or because a workshop's on that I can get to, and again I'm sitting there and I will understand something on a new level than I did before. And I really love what you touched on there, which is one of the things that I always say, that Martin shared with us, was I love where I am, I love what I'm doing, I love who I'm with. And, this idea that if you can't say those three things, then maybe it's time to change. You can either change your view about it and decide to think about it in a different way and see if that works for you.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't work, then, change something. And if you can't change it, then maybe it's time to walk away from something. And this idea is not what we are taught when we are young, young people, children, and when we're growing up, is that, we're not taught that we have this freedom to live our lives in the way that we want to and that feels right for us. It's always to please either society's idea of what we should be or someone else's.
Yeah, I know it's like that in the UK. It's very much like that in France also, with the old generation. It's yeah. Anyway, for me, I'm before, when I was translating Martin's classes or attending a class with him, I was more usually translating. I was still, some things, you hear them 2,000 times, and then one day it's like, got it. And now what is funny, is Martin used to say that with the body mirror system and the chakra, understanding the chakras as the map of the consciousness, it would unfold more layers for him. And it does that for me now. It's like sometimes I'm like, oh my God, yeah, that's something opening. So I have a deeper and deeper understanding of the chakras and what we teach, and also what is important, everything starts in the consciousness. We can go very deep with it, and we do. Being able to help people save their lives sometimes, I mean, it's just wonderful. And at the same time, it's very spiritual. And at the same time, we want to make it very practical. So what Martin was insisting was demystifying all of that, yeah, you can learn to heal somebody in 2 days. Yeah, it's possible. And because it's just so simple. I've been teaching the same classes to kids from 7, 8, and I mean, it's amazing in the children's classes, because they're so good. They have no doubts. You tell them you feel the person with white light and they're healed. They have no doubt about it, So I've had healings like, oh my God, I had to pinch myself sometimes. Like, is that really happening? Miracles. I mean, if I talk about it, people, they won't believe me, but I heard this little boy came with scoliosis. 10 minutes after during the healing, I heard some bones cracking and I was like, what is that? And then he's standing up, the spine is straight, 10 minutes. So people, they're like, no, it's too much. But I saw it, there is no limit, no limit, no limit. The only one existing is the one we put with our own beliefs, but there are no limits. People are blind, seeing after, I've had that. Well, in 30 something years, I had 3 or 4 people, blind that could see. I mean, it's not so much, but anyway, it's not nothing.
It's possible.
Yeah. So it's for me, I also enjoy that, that's why I was talking about the dynamic of co-creation, because the healing is a co-creation between the one receiving and the one giving. So when it's complete, we know all the conditions were there, for the healing.
Sure.
But when it's not, the healer can always ask themselves, were they really expecting the healing happening? And it's about pushing the limits to the point where you feel you have unlimited abilities. You know what you bring to the experience. You have no doubt at all. So I remember this friend of mine in Copenhagen. I used to live in Copenhagen. We were living close to the hospital. She comes home and she says, the doctor, they took ultrasound or whatever, scan, whatever, and they say, I have cancer and they want to remove my uterus. And they say they're 99 sure it's cancer. So I'm telling her, if they said 99, they're not sure. Otherwise, they would have said 100. But they said 99. It's not the same. And I spent maybe 3-4 hours to put her attention on this 1%, before I was able to give her a healing so that she could open the door to the possibility. Because for me, it's logical. If they're sure, they say 100. They don't say 99. Anyway, I gave her the healing. She went back to the hospital. She demanded to have a new, I don't remember what it was.
Ultrasound.
Whatever. Mm. And they didn't see at all what they saw before. It was gone. And they wanted to remove the uterus anyway. And she said, no way. And she left, So that's what we're talking about. That's what it's a passion for me, to explore the unlimited aspect of your consciousness, what you're capable of, and even working with your own consciousness, with helping the planet, it's wonderful to being able to work with from different places in your consciousness and not just solar plexus, where a lot of people, they're just moving their attention, from security, sensations, and freedom, power. And then as soon as we talk about unconditional love, we lose 40% of them,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's kind of where we're headed now, because I know Martin used to talk a lot about the fact that, as a global consciousness, you just mentioned there about the 3 lower chakras, which we all need and which we, use on a daily basis to get about and, go about our lives. The root chakra, the orange or sacral chakra, and the yellow or solar plexus chakra. Cute.
Heart chakra.
Jam? Is that jam?
No, it's not jam.
Okay.
No, it's a cute glass. So.
It's sweet.
It's good for the people to say, oh, it's so sweet,
Yeah, exactly. We need, I think
good for the heart.
Cats and dogs on Instagram are getting us through a lot of difficult times. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
So, and he used to talk about, we're going through this transition from the yellow chakra to the heart chakra, and this is something I've talked about quite a lot on this podcast because it really speaks to me, and we are seeing it. We are in the midst of it. We are, and I can really feel us moving. I can really feel us in that green chakra now, even though what is not reflected at us in the news. It's definitely never reflected at us in the news, but it's reflected in, I see it in communities. I see it in the way that we are finding our empathy for people in suffering. I feel like that's kind of where we are. Can you talk a little bit about how the system kind of makes sense of what we're going through?
So some people say that
This section is available for all members of the Curious Crew who support me on Patreon. Join us there for this and more bonus content. Patreon.com/The Modern Fairy Sightings Podcast. Yeah, I'm sure many of us, like myself, are feeling the approach of the Age of Aquarius, the heart chakra. And even though it might be hard to see it right now, I do ultimately feel like it is on the way and almost here. So I'm excited because, as I say, this is the 20th anniversary of when I began Body Mirror System, and you're coming to Bristol to teach this, which is just fantastic. November 22nd, 23rd, and we're going to be what are we going to be learning in that class when you're here?
Well, you're going to learn how to give healings and how to receive healings. In the class, it's about healing, So if you already, if you have a symptom, you come, you receive 5 healings, but you're also giving healings. If you want to learn new healing techniques, you do that, but you're going also to receive healing. So we're asking you to do the healing class for yourself. Even if you're a therapist, you have to do it for yourself. So it's not mental. You see the efficiency of the tools on yourself, then you're more efficient to explain the tools afterwards. And so we're rebalancing chakras, putting yourself back with this sense of wholeness, like what I was talking about before, finding your place of harmony, feeling free to be yourself. So after the class, you should feel more grounded, more trust in yourself and trust in trust in general, trust in life. If we're talking about your emotions, we're going to explain to you, the necessity to feel emotions. So with the new understanding, it's like it becomes more obvious. I'm going to tell you how you're creating your reality. And I'm going to give you tools to change. It's about the transformation. So you're going to receive 5 healings and all the explanation about the inner cause of the symptoms. But on top of that, we give you tricks, to help you with the transformation process, how to work with your beliefs and the words that you're using, etc. Also, after the class, it's easier to own your power, to feel free. Freedom is not something you give or you receive. You were born free. So when you have this deep understanding, you go from the class, and some people, they feel like they're the sun. They're radiating. They feel that they are where they belong, and it's. If we're talking about solo places, it's just, feeling at your place, feeling like you're the main character in your movie, you're radiating. And that's wow. Okay. Heart chakra, it's about opening your heart, so that's what is happening in the class. You're opening your heart to receive love. And sometimes it's even more moving for people to experience unconditional love for others. But it's bringing them in it's visiting the heart chakra and what we mean by unconditional love. It's not conditions. It's just beautiful. And for me, that's the nature of humanity. You understand? It is this goodness in people. I'm often talking about this story. Once I was at the airport. I was in Athens this week and talking about that. And so I was, we were ready to board, and here is this woman coming with her boarding pass and it's not the right gate. So I'm explaining to her, you need to go there, blah, 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 blah. And then the guy next to me looks at me and says, thank you. And I'm like, wow, it's a human being thanking another human being for helping another human being when the three of them, they're not related at all in the physical reality. And that's, for me, that's the goodness in people, the joy of helping each other. So that's heart chakra. But anyway, we apply it, concretely with my specialty. It's my specialty. It's happening. People are reconnecting with their parents after my classes. I don't know, maybe because that's what I healed myself, and I have the right words for that. Not for everybody, but it's very often that people reconnect with members of their family after the class, their mom and dad, that something is shifting. Yeah. I'm going to explain to you in details what is intuition, how to listen to your intuition. That was the main thing that was so important to me when I attended my first class, to understand what intuition is about, and to trust your inner voice, to trust your instinct, and to let yourself being guided. And this chakra can lead to a sense of grace, So you think of things and they happen, the flowing manifestation. So it's like you're defining a lifestyle for yourself, and you're allowing yourself to receive it. So it's not just about expressing what is true for you. It's also about expressing your being, what is deep inside, and it's being in contact with what is on your list. So I'm explaining that in very much detail, and of course, talking about you're creating your reality and looking at others as creators of their own reality, and how we relate, as co-creators, spirit to spirit communication. We have beautiful meditations where, eye to eye meditations where you're traveling in time, it's extraordinary, literally extraordinary.
Yeah.
And for me, for a lot of people, what it gives them, it's this sense of unity. They come, they had a closed crown chakra, just being isolated, alone inside, don't believe in God, don't believe in anything. And then it's giving them an alternative, a sense of connection with this global consciousness, being part of a big family, a big orchestration. So then things make sense, where you don't feel alone anymore after the class. You feel connected. You feel part of something bigger. That's what the class is about.
I have to say that is always one of my highlights, is that exercise. And I was discussing this with Joshua Cutchin recently, which was another guest. He was another guest of mine. That this eye-to-eye meditation. Wow, it's the first time I'd ever done that in one of these classes, and very moving. And the other thing that we do in the class is the seeing auras, which a lot of people, they think, oh, how could I ever do that? Anybody can do that, and it's just actually having the space and time to put it into practice. So that's always a really helpful tool.
That's why I was talking about demystifying.
Yeah.
I know in the UK more than in France, it's very mystifying. You're a healer. It's very, but it's another reality. In our reality, everything starts in the consciousness, and we were born seeing auras. We were born feeling energy. Everybody's a healer. It's not something that was given by members of the family. It's just that sometimes in some families, it's there, So everybody's talking about energy. So it's easy to continue with that, because it's not something suppressed. When you're in a normal family and you're talking about what you see. I remember when I told my mom I see Tuaregs on the wall, she said, oh, it's your imagination. So you just dismissed for whatever you see. And energy, I mean, talking about it, you don't talk about it. It's not part of life, So here we're demystifying this. Now, people, they have to see if it talks to them or not, because some people, they like when it's mystified and it has some symbols and stuff. And for Martin, when he put this method together, he wanted to remove all of religious stuff, all so that people, they can use it as a decoder. Do you say decoder in English? No.
Decoder.
Yeah, a decoder,
Yeah.
So when we teach in Muslim countries, they love the way it helps them interpreting their religion in a different way. It's not just believing because you're supposed to believe, but believing because it makes sense. It gives them, okay, we understand the intention, we understand what the message says. So I'm not saying religion is bad. You know what I mean? It's more like you need to. When I was in a Catholic school, I was feeling guilty all the time. When it was time to give a gift, I was giving my favorite one. It was sacrifice because otherwise it was not good enough, and that's too much. So for me, I enjoy, I was raised by angels. So the quality of love I have, I mean, I wouldn't change that for nothing. If I had to do it again, I would do it the same. Okay. But it's more about removing all this guilt and all this, you should be like this or you should be like that. For me, it's, when you find your place of harmony, you don't want to be somebody else. You don't want to be elsewhere. You don't want to do something different because you're there, and so many people are, wanting to be this person or wanting to live another place or dreaming to do something else. And it's finding a way to come to that. For me, I was a social worker. I had a normal life. My parents were very happy. When I met Martin, my life took another direction, and my parents, they were not happy about it, and I had to feel free to follow my path. I knew it was my path, and now they admire me for that. My parents, they love they love what I do, and yeah. So it's if you're not happy or if you're not healthy, you're not living your life to the fullest. So life is about being the full expression of who you are, whatever it is, because sometimes you have people, they work 8 hours a day in a factory. They go home, they cook. In the weekend, they do barbecue in the park with their friends. Once a year, they go 2 weeks on holiday camping. They drink pastis and they eat potato chips and they play pétanque with their friends, and then they go back to work and they're happy. They're just happy, and they're healthy and happy. They changed nothing. Once I was in Copenhagen in the taxi, and the guy said, before I was a lawyer, I would not see my kids. And I was paying a lot of taxes, and I would not sleep. I was bringing work at home, blah, blah, blah. One day I got tired, and I thought, oh, I love to drive. So I'm going to drop my job as a lawyer. I'm going to become a taxi. And he's happy. He's driving his kids to school every morning, picking them up every afternoon. He doesn't bring work at home. He pays less taxes, earning less money, but being happy. And when he told me that, I thought, wow, that's great. And he said, well, you're the first one to tell me it's great. Everybody says I'm crazy. And I said, no, you're not crazy. You do. I mean, if you're happy, I mean, that's what life is about.
Yeah.
So it's not like, oh, you have to love unconditionally, you have to be spiritual and blah, blah, blah. For me, that's bullshit, I'm sorry like that.
It's okay.
I feel very strong about it. It's about being happy. And sometimes when I see somebody, working 8 hours a day at the factory like that, and that's it, I'm thinking maybe in a previous life, they were president of France, and And they come in this lifetime, they don't want to hear about anything, they don't want TV, they don't want newspaper. The only thing they want is raise their children. And
Yeah.
they don't want to know what is happening on the planet. But they're happy, they're healthy, they're in their factory, maybe they make I don't know, glasses, and that's why we're able to drink in nice glasses. Some people are making those glasses,
Right.
and they're happy making them, I hope. So it's finding your place of harmony. Yeah, some people, they love to clean. My mom, she's 94, she loves to clean. Sometimes I go home, she's on her knees, cleaning the. She loves to do that. So
It's great. And for people that are wondering, what does this have to do with fairies? I credit having gone to that class. That was May 2005 when I first did Body Mirror System, and it was, as I say, my life completely changed afterwards. I met the man that was going to be my husband not too long after that, and just my life got put on a different path. But just into 2007, that's when I had the experience of seeing this small green man. Now, I feel that was because my third eye was opened fully in 2005. I saw things as they were. Of course, it changed my vision too. I was able to see clearly and all of that. But for me, it was, this perceptual filter had completely changed.
yeah,
And brought me back to who I am. And I feel like I started to walk my path, and my path was what I'm doing now. Really, it was to do with otherworld. And, that's not something that I would have thought possible before. So you never know when you open that door to you. Sometimes it's a real surprise in what you find, and what really does make you happy, because sometimes we go through our lives telling us that these certain things, that we kid ourselves that we're striving for, and actually when we come back to ourselves, we really feel what makes us happy. So it's a gift, Annick, and
it's a tremendous joy,
yeah,
tremendous joy. Just and whatever it is, it can be baking cakes, it can be cleaning, it can be driving, it can be talking, anything, playing music, dancing, it can be anything. Reading, some people are paid of reading, You know what Martin used to say? But maybe I shouldn't say that for the UK. Anyway, Martin used to say, even if what you love to do the most is having sex, you can earn a living with it, and being happy. But anyway,
I'll leave that in for patrons.
He loved to be provocative, but he's right, in fact.
Yeah, do what you want to do, and don't do what you don't want to do.
Exactly. Do what makes you happy.
Do what makes you happy,
whatever it is.
You're not harming anybody else, of course, but do what makes you happy, and don't listen to what someone else tells you should or shouldn't be doing. I think is a really good advice. So yeah, thank you for all the work you're doing, Annick. I'm so excited to see you in November. We're going to be just outside Pill, just outside. So it's in Bristol anyway. And if people want to get in contact about that, I will put the links in the show notes. I will also put a link to the website for the Body Mirror System for people to look up classes, because you've got classes all around the world now. Well, in Europe.
And I'm going to New York soon.
Oh, amazing. Because people in America, that's fantastic. I've got in my Patreon group where we some of us are healers, so we talk about this a lot, really. And some people are in Australia, some people are in America, and they're saying we want to do this, and and we're not able to. So that's fantastic to hear that you're going to be in New York. It's super exciting. When's that going to be?
Yeah, I'm going to New York 22 June to do a one-day class.
Wow.
Presenting the chakras and how you're creating your reality, and doing a very deep relaxation meditation at the end. And then I'm going in September to teach a healing class.
Amazing. That's really...
First weekend of September. Anyway, if you give information, you can give my also the foundation Facebook and my personal Facebook also.
Yes, we'll do that. And your email if you want to hear from people, but mostly really all the information is on the website.
Yes.
To join the Facebook group. You also do a meditation once a month on a Tuesday that anybody can join. And this is where this is a really good opportunity of a sense of community, of expanding that heart chakra, people coming together in peace and sending love to the world. So I will put the link for that as well, but it's 5 p.m. Paris time, no, 6 p.m. Paris time on
5 London,
5 London time, once a month. So I'll put a link to that too. And looking forward to seeing you in November. And I believe you've got a class also in London in May too.
Yes, last weekend of May. That famous healing class also.
That's right.
And it's organized by my son, Edouard. So he's the contact information for having information about the class.
So
I wanted to complete with something, Jo, if you don't mind. You were talking about just before, about what makes you happy, if it's something that doesn't threaten the organism. Life is, it's interesting to look at life through the filter of co-creation. So if what you dream to do, everybody wants to dream, it will be encouraged. It would be co-created. If what you dream to do is threatening the organism, nobody will want to dream the same dream. So it will be discouraged by the organism. That's how it's working. That's why we have laws and things protecting people. So for me, life is the sign of infinity. Everything is a question of balance. So everything is rebalancing by itself all the time. But do what makes you happy, and don't do what makes you unhappy. And whatever it is, if everybody wants to dream your dream, it will be encouraged.
Yeah, that's true. Let's hope we see more of that and are coming together and people stepping into their path and feeling the freedom to do that and having the freedom to do that. And I very much wish that for everybody. So thanks again, Annick. And
Thank you.
Being with you again. Your class is always really fun. Everyone laughs a lot, which is always very good. I
like to have fun.
Yeah, you got to have.
Otherwise, it's too serious.
Absolutely. I'm with you there. Okay. Lots of love to you and speak to you soon.
Thank you, Jo, and thank you everybody for listening. And I wish you a beautiful day.
Thanks so much for listening and watching. If you enjoyed the podcast, please consider joining us on Patreon for dozens more episodes of unreleased bonus content, monthly online events, and a private chat. We are a warm, supportive community and it really helps to support the project. Find us on patreon.com/The Modern Fairy Sightings Podcast. Healing has helped me many times in my life when I'd reached a point where something needed to change. In 2005, I trained with Martin Brofman to learn the body mirror system of healing, which was life-changing for me. It's based on the idea that the parts of your body that don't work well reflect the parts of your life that don't work well, and about which you have tension in your consciousness. The understanding is that tension is stress, and stress causes symptoms. In a distance healing or in-person session, I move up the chakras, returning each one to wholeness using a colour map. During the process, I see images and situations, I hear words or receive impressions that tell me something about what caused the tension in that person's life. The feedback at the end of the session is a really big part of the healing. If you're interested in a chakra healing session, you can contact me at scarletofthefae@gmail.com.